to make an appointment today for an eye exam. Even though the name has changed, we are still providing the same family-friendly eye care as Dr. Z. We are located at 8 North Main Street in Jewett City. You can also find Griswold Eye Care on Facebook and send us a message. Don't forget that eye exams correlate to your whole body health too. It's not just new glasses and contacts. So come see me, Dr. Katina Simmons, at the all-new Griswold Eye Care, formerly Dr. Zuckerbrand's. Hope to see you soon.
Life's been tough, and it's even tougher than ever to find a good therapist. But these days, all you hear is, "Sorry, we aren't accepting new patients." Next time, reach out to Life's Journey Counseling Services. They're located on Main Street, right in the middle of Jewett City, and they are accepting new patients right now. Individual, couples, family, and group counseling are all services available at Life's Journey Counseling Services in Jewett City. Find them online at lifesjourneyct.com and click on Book Appointment for information on how to start or to simply get questions answered. Life's Journey Counseling Services has multiple therapists on staff, so your questions, concerns, and counseling needs will all be met. lifesjourneyct.com. It's the best place to start your personal journey to heal, become a better version of yourself, and strengthen your relationships. Life's Journey Counseling Services, 70 Main Street here in Jewett City, lifesjourneyct.com.
Life is full of choices. At Jewett City Savings Bank, we can make one choice easy, finding the right checking account. We offer a range of affordable accounts to fit your budget and needs, and each gives you the freedom to access your money the way you want, online, through our mobile app, or with your debit card. It's your money and your choice. To learn more about the account that's right for you, stop by one of our offices or visit us at jcsbank.com. Jewett City Savings Bank, member FDIC.
Your community radio.
Live from Main Street.
Mike Minarski and Rich Wasilick in the morning. And 80s all day and night.
SNSN.
Yeah, well. Paul goes ahead and just starts drooling already.
You know why? I heard my name.
Drooling with excitement over the fact that we are going to be having a show today with the Board of Finance Chairman Alex Grzelak. Yeah. Because usually in the past it was Scott Davis.
Yes.
That we had on, and Scott's always a great guest.
He was always great. Yeah.
Yep. Very informative.
Yep. And
he always had his information right there, and if you didn't know, he'd open up his book and look it up.
Yeah.
So today, this is the
first
debut
of
the maiden voyage
yeah.
for Alex Grzelak,
yeah.
who is the Board of Finance Chairman here in the town. So a lot of things to talk about with Alex. And if
getting close to budget season.
And well, we're in budget season. It's there.
Yeah, I know.
We're getting closer to the vote, but I mean, we're in budget season.
Yeah, because a lot of the special selectmen's meeting, a lot of the department heads are talking budgets to them.
Yeah,
because you can listen to their special meetings online, but that seems to be what's going on right now. Yeah. So,
well, we'll have to wait and see as the season kind of moves on.
Yeah. Like I said, we have nothing coming in. That's for sure. Except you and I.
Nothing that we know of. But you are on the EDC, the Economic Development Committee, and there was an EDC meeting last evening.
Yeah.
So how did that go?
Well, the typical information came out, but I think what was disappointing to me was I found out that we're now in another delay of going out for bid. It's probably going to be, instead of being March, now it's either going to be April or May. So now we have another couple months or month and a half, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it has to do with them, the state, I guess, checking out any environmental impacts that the sewer line would have, on the environment as far as, wildlife and, floodplains and things such as that. what surprises me is why wasn't it done before? Why wasn't this done
Years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
No, not 40 years ago. But why wasn't it done, 6 months ago when they knew they knew because they had it surveyed?
Yeah.
Why was it not done? So now we're in another delay. And the other thing is the whole infrastructure project is dependent on grants. There's a lot of grants out there waiting to pay for this thing.
And the one big one that they applied for, which was $18 million,
$18 million.
they're not even going to find out until July.
Well, yeah, it could be.
If they're even going to get that or in the running. So.
I think it just went in. I think they just completed it.
Right. But what I'm saying, they're not going to get an answer until July.
Yeah. And then Summers, I think, is involved with that too, trying to see what they can do. But it's heavily dependent on grants. So if those grants don't show up, how are we going to get it in? And we all know how important that is to getting revenue into the town.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's something we're going to have to work out.
So just wanted to, speak to the folks that are in the chat room in listening here today. Is if you are listening to the show and you will be here to listen to what the finance board director has to say, because truth be told, the finance board is that they're the ones that hold the pen.
They have the checkbook,
for the entire town.
Yeah.
Share this on this broadcast so people can be aware that this may be something that people want to listen to or to hear. I hear it, you hear it too. It's like, oh, I didn't know. Well, that's fair. However, if more people would share the information or share the broadcast, if we're talking about something, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I think this right here is something that is certainly worth sharing. So hopefully, more people, and if they have questions, this is just another forum that you can ask and you can participate, because you can go to a town meeting, yes, which is great. And you can ask questions, which is great. But you also are limited.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have one. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think there was a start of, the referendum we had was close. Just goes to show you that some of the information did get out there, that people were listening,
Yeah.
That was a close referendum. As long as, where have you seen that it would be this close?
I haven't.
Exactly.
That's the closest vote that I think I've seen, other than the first selectman race, when it was Phil Anthony against Kevin Skolchek.
Yeah. So
that obviously is.
So
the
people
closest.
are starting to listen. People are a little concerned. I think it's the whole economic. The times we're in, that a lot of people now are saying, ugh, what's going on? So.
Right.
So we'll have to see what he has to say about where he thinks the budget's going to be come voting time. Because I personally think that if it's way up there, it'll fail based on the referendum we just had.
Right.
Because people are concerned about, expenditures right now. So we'll see.
Well, it's definitely going to be an interesting conversation. It'll be, he'll be here in a few minutes, but talking about other town business, like you were talking about the EDC, the first thing you even said before you remarked about the EDC is that there's nothing coming in. I guess the big question is why? There were things that were kind of on the cooker a little. And some were just about done.
Yeah, I think that the reason why we're not getting anything is because some of the properties, as we know, the property over next to Petco, the old, where there's no infrastructure out there. There's nothing. So without infrastructure, people
can't do a lot.
They're looking elsewhere. So that seems to be the biggest thing. You would think that the number one thing that we would get done would be that infrastructure. Come hell or high water, get it done as fast as possible, and that'll start to bring revenue in. But it seems to be, it says it takes time. Well,
All right, it was voted on 3 years ago.
I know.
3 years ago, the town taxpayers
Agreed that we needed to get it done.
And whatever. And there hasn't been a shovel in the ground.
Hasn't happened.
So
Agreed. And until that happens,
why?
We heard this time after time with Plainfield. We heard with Lisbon. They got infrastructure, so people are going there. Why would you not?
Right.
We don't. So whoever's fault it was, why it wasn't done earlier, I don't know.
I mean, Lisbon has highway access. If you're going to put a warehouse somewhere, it's easy in, easy out. Same thing with Plainfield on 2 different locations.
Yep.
Not just where the old dog track is.
Yeah.
And I know, there are people that go, well, they built a big building and doing nothing with it. Well, I guess they're opening in December.
Yeah.
And then there's the other unit that's going to be where Westview Orchards used to be.
Yeah, something going out there. Yeah, I think
Right.
warehouse or something. Yeah, but everything is. I mean, it's not that we don't have access because we do.
Yep.
We have access, but we don't have what we need out there to get people to say, okay,
So here's the thing. This show today, I want people to understand the nature of the show. A lot of the times, or most of the times, we try to be good-spirited and jovial and stuff. This is not going to be a show that we're looking to make pals.
No, we need to be serious.
This
about
is serious,
It's very serious,
right? So, and I'm not saying that Alex doesn't want to be your pal, because I'm sure he does, but people want to know
What's going on?
They want to know about the infrastructure. They want to know what the budget is going to be like.
Why is my road still not paved?
Right.
You
know what though? Here's the thing. And I would actually ask this of somebody. If somebody stood up at a town meeting and said, "What about my road? My road needs work." And they're probably correct.
Mm-hmm.
It probably does. We're spending money on this, that, and the other thing, but my road is crap.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's say that money gets approved for roads. And that same guy that stands up is still mad because it's not going to be his road is not one of the roads. Does he vote yes or vote no?
Yeah. Well,
you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but the town has a program, okay, that actually uses video, goes across the road, and it determines
how many people.
What level the road is at, whether it could be just fixed or needs to be repaved based on the video that it takes of the road, and they make the decision based on that. Can you repair it? Is it good? And so on. So there are a lot of roads out there that probably need to be dug up. Let's face it, some of them are in pretty bad shape. But unfortunately, we keep putting off.
All right, Paul, so let me ask you a question. You live on a road, right? Okay, they're going to approve $5 million. They're going to appropriate $5 million. They're going to bond it, whatever they're going to do to fix some roads.
Yeah.
They list 4 roads that they're going to go do it, right?
Yeah.
So yours is not one of them, and yours is in dire need of repair, right? They say road A, B, C, and D is going to get fixed.
Yeah, but
road E, which is yours, they're not touching. Do you vote yes or do you vote no? See, it's not on the tip of your tongue. Because if I said if you were on street A, you'd be yes.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah. Is
that if it doesn't directly affect the one, are we looking at a town or are we looking at an individual resident's needs?
Yeah. Well,
and that's something they can't do, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, let's use this for instance. We're spending what 3.8 for the field, and we know that everybody wanted that. What if I took that 3.8 and fixed all the roads in town? Did we push the can further down the road to fix the roads to support the field? What did we do? Because the roads are not going to get fixed. They can't afford to do everything. You know, there's probably roads that probably should have been fixed years ago. They still haven't been fixed. So,
Well, here's Daryl says, well, I don't drive on those roads, so why should I pay for it? Some reasoning for everything, same reasoning for everything that goes on in town. Well, then that mentality is like, oh, so you're not on that road, but you're not going to pay for it? Well, guess what? None of them get fixed.
Yeah.
That's what they do in high school. In school. You know? None of you get it.
yeah, but that's not how it works. I think they're just going to fix the roads. Yeah.
We're not disputing that the
I
roads
know,
need to be
I know.
fixed,
This-
you know,
yeah.
and I know you're not either.
Mm.
But I think we have to look at,
Yeah.
you know, because you get people.
Well,
you know,
I think
you got Mr. and Mrs. NIMBY.
Yeah.
You know, it was like,
I just hope we're not taking items that need to be addressed and keep putting those on the back burner and only addressing the things that come up in
Mhm.
front of us, you know, which is bad. We should be addressing some of those things on the back burner to make, you know, because let's face it, those residents would love to have their road fixed. But
all
they
I can
can't.
say,
Yeah.
all I can say is for everybody that complains in the town of Griswold
Mhm.
about their tax base,
Yep.
I'm sure it's rough and it can be very tough. But sell your house and move to Norwich, and then tell me how bad you have it.
Well, if we keep going the way we are,
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, but if we keep talking the way we are, there's a lot of people going to sell a house and just move to Lisbon or move to Plainfield,
Okay.
you know, and try to sell your house.
Well, Plainfield, I mean, their tax base isn't
You know?
any better than ours
Yeah, but try selling
as far as the
your
mill
house.
rate.
Try selling your house.
Huh?
You know, people. Oh yeah, I love your house. I'll give you $100,000 for it. What's the taxes? Oh, it's another $1,500 on top of your mortgage payment. Well, okay, so I'll go buy the same house in another surrounding town. Oh, what's your mortgage payment? Oh, it'll be taxes will be $1,000 on your thing. So you know, what do? So, you know, you got to be careful where we are with this whole tax base, and the way we are right now. I think the most primary thing we need to address right away is to get that damn infrastructure in. If we don't, where we're going to be it keeps getting delayed.
Well, Scott just says 3 years to address infrastructure. That was voted on and approved and nothing done. Yep. That's
Well, you don't
let's be mad about, and then he said, let's be mad about a football field. Hey, there he is. How are you? You doing, Alex? Why don't you come on over here, right on this this chair? So anyway, good to see you.
Yes.
Thanks for
Nice
coming.
to see you. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
It's Grumpy Lash.
It's Alex.
He's glaring at me.
Really, he's trying to be a rock star.
I am not.
No, I'm talking about him.
Oh, me? Come on. No.
You got the
why?
Gene Simmons here, man. Look at you rocking it out.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
So
I guess you didn't watch the commercials from the Super Bowl.
yeah.
People had long hair. They thought they were going to be a rock.
Yeah, they said Griswold wants to secede from the union. Kind of rough, but so we. One of the things, just to preface, is one of the things that we said a couple of minutes ago is that this show, we're not here to make friends today. It's just facts.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm here. I talk about whatever you guys want. All right, perfect. All right. No, you're good. You're good.
It's not the warm and fuzzies today.
It's all good.
You know, well, I know, but I think people expect the warm and fuzzy. You know, it's puppies and unicorns.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, you know what I want to ask you right off the bat
Sure.
is that there was, before you got elected Board of Finance chairman, there was like, okay, well, we think we're going to have Alex. We're going to vote. What credentials do you have to be a Board of Finance chairman in any town?
Yeah. Okay. So, for those that don't know me, this is I think I came once when I was campaigning for the first election, but I haven't been on here in a while. So for those who don't know me, my name's Alex Grzelak. I was born and raised in Griswold, lived in Griswold my whole life. The only time I've been gone is essentially when I was in the Army right out of high school, and also I went to UConn. So for starters, I've been in this town my whole life. I love this town with everything, honestly, and so, as I got older and when I got home from the Army, I started getting involved with town politics and worked on campaigns, etc. And I tried to kind of find my niche. And so I went to school for economics. and majored in economics at UConn. And then immediately after, I got a job in finance at EB. So essentially, I eat, sleep, breathe finance. And so it was a natural fit. And so I thought I could do a good job, and I got elected and re-elected, and here I am. So
Here we are.
Yeah.
So you have an MBA?
No, I don't have an MBA, just a bachelor's in economics.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Okay. So, and I don't know if a lot of people knew that.
Right.
You know, they just know. You know, and I got to tell you, I talked to somebody yesterday. That is in town politics. Didn't know who you were.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
This is not a shot at you.
No, it's
this is a shot at like, why the hell don't you know?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I think I've been pretty, I think I've been one of the more transparent, not taking a shot at anyone. I think I've been more transparent than most people in town politics. I try to post as much as I can. I post all the agendas. I've called people, met with people, so I think I'm pretty approachable.
So when it comes to, I mean, we're in budget season,
right?
We're smack dab in the middle of it.
That's it.
Different departments are crafting their budgets and trying to put them together. You guys hold the pen.
Yeah.
You guys hold the pen.
The purse strings. Yeah.
Yeah.
As they say,
to the entire town. So they talk about, well, I'm this and I'm that. Oh yeah. Well, I'm Board of Finance. They're the ones that are calling the shots.
Yeah, unfortunately, the world revolves around money, right? So, yeah.
So, just when you want to go to a first selectman election, just remember who's calling the shots.
Yeah, well, more or less. Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Whoa. Excuse me.
Get all choked up.
It was very verklempt, So okay, we're right in the middle of budget season. Let's just the immediate elephant in the room,
Sure.
The multi-purpose field.
Sure.
So, I personally was a huge
proponent,
of it.
Yep.
Mr. Lash, not so much.
Not so much.
Okay.
No, it was
to
not.
the point where Mr. Lash and I got into a rock'em sock'em robots argument, and he walked out. We didn't talk for a week.
Hey, I mean, the other day I went to eat at Voluntown Pizza, and I walk in, and immediately someone comes up to me and says, basically not attack, but pressure, tough questions. Oh, well, this, that, and the other thing. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions, which we can talk about here today, which I would love to actually. So,
no, go ahead.
And I would, I'll be honest, I was a massive proponent as well. I was extremely happy that it passed, and I think it's going to be an amazing thing for the town.
Yeah.
So, and I have been since day one. I was on the committee starting in 2019 to work on this. So
just to give you an idea, of what kind of rift this has put between people. We didn't talk for a week.
Yeah.
We didn't talk for a week. Yeah. Now, I've told people I love this guy. I absolutely he's known me since I was, just a short, fat kid playing Little League Baseball here in Jewett City.
Right.
So, so there's a history there, and we've been here 6-7 years now.
I think the people kind of being a referendum.
All right, enough of the warm and fuzzies.
You tried to butter him up.
With the referendum being that close.
Yeah.
Within, I mean, I think it was 9, it was 18, but actually 9 could have tipped it.
Swift there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Could have forced a recount or a revote.
So I think that told you something that a lot of people are not happy, not so much with the field, but it's the cost that it's going to cost them come July.
Got it. Right. Yeah, of course. That's the concern, obviously. I guess, and I'll be honest, it was closer than I expected. It was closer than I expected.
I think you thought it was closer too than you thought. Yeah.
I expected it to, I don't want to say landslide, but I expected it to be quite a big margin.
I thought it was going to be overwhelmingly for.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what I felt. So does that dissuade me any? I mean, obviously when a vote that close, you need to be more cognizant of the people who are against it because it's obviously pretty split. I guess what I would say, and this might not be popular with some, but I think
again, we're not here for warm and fuzzies.
I agree.
Today,
I agree. Right. I think what I'm asking is for people to give the Board of Finance a chance to. It seems like a lot of money, yes, but luckily we're in a pretty good financial situation in Griswold where there are avenues we can take to lessen the blow, not only with the field, but with taxes in general. And I think this is going to be a pretty transformational budget for us to keep taxes down. I really do. And the main way we're going to do that is with our reserve fund, which you hear people say, oh, we have this massive reserve fund. And luckily,
I heard it's pretty healthy.
Right. It's healthy. Right. So, as a matter of fact, I have the numbers here. So, for those of you who don't know, essentially every town has to have a undesignated fund balance, right? I call it rainy day fund. I've been told it's not a rainy day fund, but essentially it's a rainy day fund, I think. Okay. Yep. So, essentially, every town has its own policy, what the lower limit can be and what the upper limit can be. So the lower limit in the town of Griswold, as set by a town policy, is 8.5%. And I believe the upper limit, let me look real quick, is 17%. Currently, let me just make sure. I don't want to give people bad info. Yep. So 17% is the maximum per the policy. Currently, we sit at about, we're projected to come in after this budget, the last budget we're currently in, right, at 18.56%. So we're above it 1%. We're projected to be above 1.5%. And currently we are going to be approximately 3.8 million above the minimum of the policy, right? So this policy, some people may say, oh, well, then just spend the 3.8 million. But, there's different ways to look at it. Number one, this affects our bond rating, right? So if when we bond all these projects, which we have some bonded and we're about to bond, they look at our undesignated fund and say, in an emergency, can you pay your bills? Obviously, we can. So it's good to have a healthy fund policy, but at the same time, it's the taxpayers' money, right? It's our money sitting in an account. So the question becomes, are you overtaxing people because we have all this money just sitting in an account, right? So I think the will of the board, at least the sense I'm getting, we spent I think $600,000 out of the reserve last year. I think there's a serious will to spend quite a bit of money out of this account. And again, we're not going to, the idea would not be to fund the actual budget, but more so single infrastructure, a new dump truck, roads, stuff like that can be a one-time expense. So I think we have an opportunity here to lessen the blow for the field, possibly. We have about $400,000 left on the bond for the high school roof. I think we're beating around the idea of paying that off. So there's ways that I think, we can definitely lessen the blow and also, my goal every year going in is to have zero tax increase. That's 100% my goal. Is that realistic? Maybe not, but I think that's, as a board, we're pretty good at starting there and saying, how can we get as close to there as possible with still providing, for the town. So,
here's a comment.
Sure.
I agree with this.
Sure.
And I want to see what your thought is.
Sure.
Scott Fryer says there was a lot of misinformation being thrown out on social media. He says that mattered. What do you think about that?
Yeah, for example, the person who came up to me at Town Pizza goes, well, we don't send any players to the NFL. And we heard someone say that in the actual meeting, and I'm thinking, I don't know what to say to that because it's just so out of left field. I think, I'll explain my point of view. Having a sports field like that, multi-purpose field, is so good for so many things. I was the captain of the football team. It made me into the man I am today. It had a tremendous impact on me.
You know what? My stepson was one of the captains as well, and that was an amazing thing for him.
Right.
So
right. No, I'm still close with all the people I was, played high school. One of my closest friends, he's a pharmacist at Walgreens. He played right next to me in football. These relationships, and it's so far beyond the sport that I think a lot of people just say, sports field, can they go pro? If not, what's the point? I think it's so far, and I've listened to your show, and I think you've tried to get that across too. It's so much more than
It really is.
going to the pro. That's like such an afterthought when it comes to this.
I think the biggest mistake was made was it kept pushing the football side of it, not the multi-purpose side of it, because there's also a track there.
Right.
And I think that whole track piece was missed. And it looked like, why are we doing football only? What about the rest of the kids? And I think that's the message that got out there.
And you know what? I mean, let's be honest. I think football is the most popular sport in the country. Look at the Super Bowl and stuff. So a lot of times it comes back to that. But I mean, when I was in high school, we didn't have a lacrosse program whatsoever. There was no such thing as Griswold lacrosse. And now look at it. So there's so many other opportunities for other sports. I was on I threw in and track too. I agree with you, Paul. It comes back to football, but I think that's because we're such a football centric society in some aspects. But again, there's so many other good things about this, such as the track, such as hosting large meets and such that I think the money, it's such money well spent. I do. And I hate taxes and I hate spending money on frivolous things, but I think it's just the saying I learned from Scott Tavis one point is penny wise and pound foolish. We save money and but are you really saving money in the grand scheme of things? I don't think so. I think this is a great investment for the town.
See, look, to your point, about the field and being stressed on football and not track and everything. You're right. I agree. I always have agreed with you. However, how many people remember the supporting actress that won last year in the Academy Awards? Nobody does. But guess what? It was just as important to the entire film.
Oh, of course, right? So, and the soccer teams. And another thing that I wanted to make sure when I was supporting this and on the committee is that a lot of people might not know, but this field's going to be aligned for X amount of different sports: soccer, lacrosse, I think even field hockey. If we could start a field hockey, so it's
I think it's available to be lined for field hockey,
right. So I don't because we don't have one currently, but it's lined for soccer, lacrosse, football. The maintenance is low. I mean, it's just and again, another thing is another people probably don't realize. I think we were one of 3 schools in the entire ECC that didn't have a turf field. So when this started to come around, people, this is, we're Griswold, we're pretty semi-small.
Griswold, Bacon, Plainfield.
Right. So I guess my argument would be, well, actually it's we're the ones we're the ones doing the weird thing by having a grass field, because look at everyone else. And you look at towns around us, towns with higher mill rates than us put in turf fields. So I just think, for all those reasons, I think it's just such a great thing.
Well, let's look at. Oh, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I think a lot of people think perhaps maybe you didn't go far enough, and that far enough would be addressing the bathroom facilities there.
Yeah.
I mean, are you going to come back 2 years from now and say we need a bathroom now? Maybe we should have just said, let's build the whole goddamn thing now, get it over with, so it's $5 million. But you take the hit once, and that's the biggest complaint, especially if you're going to run any track meets.
Yeah,
have track meets.
Got to hydrate.
What are you going to do?
That's a good point. But as we saw, it barely passed. It barely passed at this level. So it probably wouldn't have passed at any.
I think if the financial environment was in better shape,
right,
and we had,
but I think it is in good shape. I think that's what Alex is trying to tell us.
But I'm saying
locally.
What I'm saying is that if we had revenue coming in, I think the whole thing would have been much different. But we have no revenue.
We need to get into the infrastructure.
Oh, I'd love to. I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to.
The thing that sold me, honestly, on this on the whole field, was how many kids will now stay in Griswold instead of leaving. So what do we pay? $1,400, give or take.
I think about per year. 12,500 about
per year. Per kid
per year.
12 grand.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That's what they pay us. So I'm assuming that's what we.
So let's just say 12.
Yeah.
Just for argument's sake.
Yeah.
So let's say 5 kids.
It's a lot of money.
Want to go to Killingley?
It's a lot of money.
It's 50 grand.
All right.
But let's say those 5 kids now are going to stay. That's 50 grand that we don't have to spend. And what about Norwich, who is now ascending town? Now, think like a high school kid for a second. You want to play baseball. How many kids on a baseball team? 13, 14, maybe. So if you're in Lisbon, I think you're a pretty good baseball player. Do you go to Griswold or do you go to, or let's say football or soccer? Do you go to NFA? Well, how many kids on 15 kids maybe on a soccer team?
Yeah, probably about
right around there.
Right.
Do you go to NFA where you're socked in between 100 kids that are trying out for the team?
Right.
Or do you come to Griswold where the mantra has always been you're going to play?
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Between that, the drama program, it's the whole school system is really starting to come around and building.
And I think one thing that I've tried to
that's what got it for me. So
I think another thing that's a misconception. So when people talk about revenue for the town, the number one revenue for the town, including any business, taxpayer, etc., is tuition revenue from students. That is by far and away the number one revenue for the town. So I think like I've heard teachers say, we need to treat the school as a business in some aspects and use it and support it as the revenue producer for the town.
Absolutely.
That I think it's much easier to attract potentially. Think about it. We get 10 kids. That's $100,000 a year times 4. That's $400,000 right there. Just 10 kids. It's much easier to do that than attract massive businesses to get into town. I want that as well, obviously, but we have this gem right here. We need to support it and grow it, and so I think it's such a key aspect. I don't think people realize
this is a profit center.
Literally, yeah. We're right. And I've talked to everyone from the superintendent, board of education. They have no concerns about overcrowding or anything like that. They can take the kids, still provide a great education, so it's a no-brainer. And again, I think the superintendent's done a great job because back when I went, I graduated in 2010. There might have been 4 or 5, Voluntown, Canterbury, Lisbon.
Yeah.
Now Preston, Franklin, and if only we get 1, 2, 3 kids, it adds up quickly.
And what about the gains of kids that maybe are going to stay at Griswold instead of, let's say they went to right for the first 2 years,
right?
Now it's like, whoa, look at this field. I want to go back home.
Could happen, certainly. It could happen, certainly.
So what's that? That's a sales gain right there, which is a profit gain, which puts more towards your tax base. So
right.
Yeah.
All right. So we've beaten the crap out of that.
I just have to say one thing,
sure.
and I'll drop it. And I agree. The field's through. It's passed. It's done. It's over. It's in. The only thing I'm going to have to say is you got to keep it to the 3.8, because if you don't keep it to 3.8, you're going to get into a situation, and we had the same thing with the senior center, where the finance board brought the civic center building team in and reamed them a new what.
Yeah.
We don't need that to happen.
I agree.
Because if that happens, the town will expect you to do the same thing, to bring in the fields building team and do the same thing.
Yeah.
So luckily, I think they probably got all their cards together, and they're going to keep within the 3.8. So
I agree. That would be an absolute disaster. And I'd be the first to tell you that would be a total disaster if we went over budget. So I'm confident, trust but verify, but I think this project's different in the fact that this company has done umpteen number of fields and they've studied it. And I think mission should be a go. And I'm just,
okay.
So I agree with you, Paul. Definitely. I do not want this to come over budget. The town people don't deserve that. I don't want any more bait and switches. So,
well, okay. So that's done.
All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and check something real quick.
Go ahead.
Of course, every time we have an important show, what do you think happens?
Crash.
Yeah, well, no, we're still on.
Okay, all right.
It's just I want to. Yeah, that's not going to help me out there. That's not helping me. So I had pretty much the camera just on you anyway. You guys.
Okay.
So I had pretty much the camera. All right, so yeah, so that's fine. It's just the second camera, which is the one on me, which y'all don't need to see. So that kind of went completely. So anyway, let's talk infrastructure.
Yeah, let's do it.
That is something. And I see it on social media. I say it. I know Paul says 3 years.
Yep.
It was voted 3 years ago.
Yep.
There hasn't been a shovel in the ground.
No.
That right there is another big important player as far as I feel is bringing industry business into town.
Yep.
What is going on and why hasn't it started?
Well,
And what's it going to cost
right.
when it finally does?
Right. So from my point of view, that was a total disaster. And to set the record straight, unfortunately, the Board of Finance, we don't have any say as far as the actual project itself. You know, it passed a referendum. We have a say in the bond, you know, how we bonded, et cetera, but we don't have a say on actually doing the now. It's kind of impossible to talk about this without throwing a little shade, but I don't know what happened when it passed with the last administration. I don't know why it wasn't immediately started. I literally, you know, and at the time we asked for constant updates. We really wouldn't get much communication, you know, and that was past May 2019. As far as I'm concerned, it should have been started, you know, by the fall or maybe in January of the next year at the latest. Then COVID hit. Obviously, we all know that's a serious issue and it screwed everything up. But again, I felt like that was just yet another excuse to push the can down the road. And, you know, since Dana took over, I think, you know, I when she got elected, I said, you know, please, number one priority, please keep us informed what's going on with this, because again, I'm so uncomfortable with the fact that a town can pass something. And I'm pretty sure that passed on a quite wide margin. And yet
it did.
Yeah.
It did.
And yet nothing. I mean, think about it. The gas line completely done.
Yep.
The senior center obviously had a lot of issues, but that's finally done. And yet we haven't put a shovel in the ground for the one thing that actually is going to make us money. Right.
Correct.
So it's absurd. And I'm just as frustrated as every town person out there.
Well, I can
Go
tell you
ahead.
some of the
Yeah.
things that happened because I'm
Sure.
on the finance. I'm on
economic
the
development, right?
board.
Yeah.
One of the things that delayed it was the They were looking for a USDA grant.
Right.
They submitted the USD grant as a complete sewer and water combination.
Right.
USDA came back and said, you need to split it.
Separate it. Yeah.
So then they had to go through all this crap again to split it. Then we all know what happened. COVID hit.
Yeah.
The people that were supposed to look at it were no longer
Right.
in Hartford. It was a mess.
Right.
you know.
Right.
So that's what's kind of delayed it.
Right.
I was at a meeting last night,
Mhm.
and we all know that this thing was supposed to go out for bid in March.
Yeah.
It's delayed again. It's delayed again now because they're looking into some environmental impacts.
Oh my God.
They're afraid of wildlife, wetlands. So now they have to go look to see if there's going to be any impact. I thought this thing was surveyed last year. I thought I saw sticks going down the road. If you go down 164.
Matter of fact, I thought I saw someone doing it. Yeah.
Why wasn't this done back then? So now we have another friggin' delay, which
Right.
means now it ain't going to go out for bid until April or May.
Mm.
So now you go out for bid. When the hell do you think it's going to start? Think it's going to start in the fall now? Who the hell knows?
Who knows? Who
and
knows?
the biggest problem with this thing, it's very grant. If no grants come in,
Grant centric, man.
Yeah.
guess what's going to happen?
Right. So essentially what happened is when we passed the referendum, we had enough money to do the entire project. COVID hits, prices skyrocket, everything skyrockets. Now we're sitting there, you know, we're sitting there with not enough money to even do the project. So
You're
now we're in a
absolutely right.
conundrum where it's like, not only as it hasn't started, we don't even have enough money to do it, and we're you know, they plan on using the a lot of the money we got for COVID, ARPA funds.
You had to get to 140,000, I think. it
Right.
is.
Yeah. They're throwing everything they have at that.
Yep.
It's turning into a disaster. I guess the only silver lining is recently the town and I wasn't part of this, but the town entered an agreement with a potential developer that since part of their plans are to do stuff for
Infrastructure.
low income
They were going to put their infrastructure
Right,
in for $10 million.
right.
And we were going to go for 12 million. We're going to put 18 million. So
Right.
we're going to get that to pay for the water. tower.
Exactly. So essentially, they entered an agreement to try to pay for this, and the private company is going to get a grant because they serve underprivileged people, and
Right.
so hopefully that goes through. But at the same time, you know, you also have to say we're also giving up some of our decision making power by incorporating a private company. Let's hope it all works out, but it's not ideal, I don't think so.
I've heard of some pullback on that.
Yeah,
about the whoever's running was the Heritage River.
Yeah. That's from what I've heard. Yeah, and again,
we're in the business of getting a grant for a private company now.
Essentially, yeah, and that makes me uncomfortable, certainly. But again, you kind of got to play the game at this point, or else I don't know. It's at what point did they pull the plug? I don't even know if you're allowed to do that. The town passed it. It has to be done, as far as I know. So
if we don't get it done, what are we going to do? How
I
are you going to put any businesses down on 164?
No, it's not a good situation at all.
It's not a good situation.
No.
And we're not the most loved town by Hartford.
Oh, that's another thing I'd like to talk about.
We're not loved by Hartford.
Yeah, no, we're not at all.
Okay, and we're depending on Hartford to give us this $18 million for Mr. Lamont. Okay?
Right.
I know that Summers is I think she's involved with trying to get this.
Of course,
done,
right. But
I saw a bill that she's sponsoring for the water tower.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's trying to, because that water tower is like $6 million.
Yeah.
And that's why the data centers left.
Right.
The data
they
centers
need the water
because it was going to be 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's $6 million. They need the water tower for fire suppression.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why they need to put the water tower in. So,
right.
This scares the hell out of me, because if we don't get it, what the hell?
Oh no, I'm with you, Paul. Totally. I don't know. I don't know the answer. If we don't get that grant, it feels to me as we're back to square one. And
we are.
Yeah.
And we don't need to be a scientist to know that.
Right. We've been back to square one like 4 or 5 times already, and this is kind of like I don't want to say Hail Mary, but it's kind of like it's let's just pray this goes through. But it's not a good situation. It's not. In hindsight's 2020, but man, it should have been done immediately, and I don't understand why it wasn't. I don't.
So you talk about Hartford. You said you
So I guess the good news, I think, a lot of times, and I'll be the first to say, I get so frustrated how, in all their benevolence, the powers that be in Hartford they continuously fund the city's umpteen amounts of money that just gets blown and wasted. If
Bridgeport, Hartford,
New Haven, Waterbury,
yep.
We know the deal. They constantly get funding increases. What frustrates me so much, if they would just give us just a little, it would be so transformational for a town like this. And I feel like we'd be so much more, we'd spend it so much more wisely than constantly dumping money into the cities. Now, the reason I bring this up is because there's talk that, including, in Lamont's budget and the Congress's budget, that they want to increase educational cost sharing money, ECS money, which essentially is what the state gives to towns to help fund schools, kind of offset the fund of schools, right? So Lamont wants to increase it. The Congress wants to increase it. Let's pray that it gets increased, number one, but let's pray that Griswold actually gets an increase, because that's not a guarantee. I talked to Heather Summers' aide yesterday, and that's the hope, that if there's an increase, let's hope we all get an increase. But again, like Paul says, unfortunately, it's no, I don't want to sit here and bash them, because unfortunately they're the hand that feeds us. But it's no surprise that they're not huge fans of Griswold or Eastern Connecticut as a whole at this point. So,
well, you heard the latest, right?
Well, no, I don't. I mean, I've been.
It depends on what the latest is.
Yeah, right.
All right. The latest now, somebody has submitted a bill to eliminate car taxes.
Oh my word!
So that means that nobody would have to pay car tax. So
if this wasn't a family-friendly show, I would.
So that bill has been submitted.
Alex, this is the internet. We can.
So you know what's going to happen to us?
Oh, we're going to get screwed.
We're going to get screwed because right now, even non-homeowners pay us taxes.
Yep.
Now renters. No tax.
Not 1 cent. Yeah. And that would raise you want to talk about raising our homeowners, it would skyrocket. And one thing I'd like to talk about, I don't think people realize, I don't know when this might have been passed within 2019 to now. Hartford passed a bill that your car taxes in a town can only go so high, right?
Yep.
So I think the mill rate's mid 35, something around
Yeah,
there,
you're
right?
right.
Right. So I don't think people realize how much that hurts towns like us who are fiscally responsible, who have a lower mill rate of 35, much lower. We're trying to spend within our means. Meanwhile, Hartford and all these major cities and municipalities are spending through the nose. They have massive mill rates. So Hartford, in all its wisdom, says, "Oh, you can only tax it so much, and the state will subsidize the rest." Well, we're just sitting there holding the bag because our taxes are well under 35.
Correct.
And what do we get? Not 1 cent. Not
exactly.
1 cent.
Exactly.
So I'm sick of getting beat down by Hartford. I'm hoping this year's different, and I hope they can provide us a little more money. I don't think we're asking for too much. It's a middle class, blue collar, hardworking town. All we want is just a little crumbs from Hartford, and unfortunately, we don't get it too much, Paul, as you know. So
I know.
We have to do what we can ourselves, but it's frustrating, certainly.
Yeah.
Most of the things that I'm reading right now about the possibility of the elimination of the car tax. Residents that I'm reading about right here are like, they're happy about it.
Of course they are, right?
Why
But
wouldn't
they
they
don't
be?
understand the ramifications.
It's got to come from somewhere.
Right.
I pay $1,000 for car taxes.
Right. No, it's a lot of money.
$1,000 in my pocket would be great, but I think my home
It will just
taxes are probably
skyrocket.
going to go back up $1,000.
Right. It would just essentially offset. Now if the state's going to subsidize us for that,
They didn't
cool. But
say
they're
that.
not. Exactly.
They didn't say
They're
that.
not going to send us a cent. You know
No.
that.
No.
They're not going to send us a cent.
No.
And again, it's mandate after mandate from Hartford saying, do more with less. Yet certain areas in the state just continuously get funding increases and continuously blow the money. It's frustrating, you
Right.
know. So
Exactly.
Here's one lady here. It said, it's hard, got tuition, other bills. We pay $400 a year in car property taxes. Make it happen.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, again, anytime taxes can be lowered is a fantastic thing in my book. But again, it's smoke and mirrors. You're going to get taxes lowered there, and
It's gonna come from somewhere
It's going to
else.
it's going to hurt the homeowner who's just trying to get by, especially retirees. People on fixed incomes. It's going to crush them. It's just a terrible proposal, but unfortunately, we're used to that at this point, right? So, I mean, again, I hope I don't want to attack them too much because I'm hoping they give us
Let it rip.
It's been we've been dealing with this for how many years? So
Years.
It's nothing new, but
We're the other Connecticut.
right, yeah, exactly. When you cross the Connecticut River, and even it's a different world, and we just have to deal with the cards we're dealt. But
Facebook user says
Sure.
the car tax is being changed, not eliminated. Ask Jen Gothier for details.
Well, I thought I read the bill. I read the news this morning, or heard the news this morning. It was to eliminate the car tax entirely. And they actually had people they were interviewing saying, oh, yeah, I can use $400 more in my pocket.
yeah,
So,
couldn't we all? Right?
so it was a total elimination according to what was on the news. Now, if it's changed, that's
Change,
fine.
sure, but
That's
and
not what I
change,
heard.
yeah, maybe change. But I have a sneaking suspicion change means towns like us are going to get the short end of the stick.
Or it
That's
doesn't pass.
yeah, right.
Mary Beth Malin says Governor Lamont proposed budget has reduced the education cost share, the ECS money, by $50,000 this year and $50,000 next year.
For Griswold, I would
I'm
assume,
assuming
yeah.
that's what she's saying. Yeah.
that would be the most outrageous budget cut in it. Oh my Lord! I hope that's.
Well, didn't they cut it a few years ago?
The state in all its knowledge has this insane formula that it uses to come up with cost sharing, and shocker, all the big cities get increases every year and all the small towns get zilch or get cut.
Yeah.
How you could cut.
She just said yes.
Yes. Okay. So how you could cut our town, who, by the way, according to the state, is a distressed municipality, meaning we're pretty, low working class income. How the state could cut our ECS funding is absolutely outrageous. I hope. Oh my Lord! I mean, I was, kind of hoping, banking on the fact that we were going to get an increase, which would help us obviously with our taxes, and but that's frustrating. I mean, if whoever's listening, lobby our Congress people the best you can. And, I think they're fighting a good fight. But again, like Paul says, I think we're not well liked, and it's pretty obvious at this point.
Well,
so.
When the color changes from blue to red.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say. I hate to say politics.
It is. It clearly
politics.
is. It clearly is. It's
Well, Mary Beth goes on to say most schools on the eastern half of Connecticut received a cut, except for alliance districts, and I don't know what that means.
I believe that has something to do with low income, distressed type situations, but I don't know exactly as well. Yeah, I'm not sure. And I'm sure, of course, conveniently, we're not an alliance district for whatever reason. So, yeah, it's frustrating. And I hope the people listening are as outraged as I am. I hope that doesn't pass. But
if we had a Republican governor, do you think that would be different? And the reason why I say that is because Eastern Connecticut is predominantly Republican.
Yeah. It's going more so.
Habits.
Yeah, it's going more so that way.
Right. So you notice, for example, all right, did Hillary Clinton come to Eastern Connecticut? No,
Never would.
Went to New Haven. She went to Bridgeport, right?
Yeah.
Why? A bunch of blue votes there.
A lot of votes, yeah.
Right? There are more votes in Bridgeport than she'll find from Thompson to New London.
Right. Yeah, agreed. It's common sense.
So I'm kind of wondering, if you're talking political games, is this political?
Oh, 100%. There's no doubt about that. And believe me, as I've gotten older, I've started to hate partisan politics more and more. But you got to call it what it is. I mean, they're going to support their buddies. They're going to support their buddies in the legislature who are from Hartford, are from Bridgeport. They run all the committees. They run all the, they get. And again, of course, you're going to support the people who vote for you over and over and in massive numbers. So it's.
Scott says Fairfield got a big increase, so there you go.
Yeah.
Where's Ned from?
What?
Where's Ned from?
Fairfield?
From
Well,
he's from, I think, Stanford.
Yeah, Fairfield can support the state of Connecticut. That's what
the Gold Coast. Yeah, the Gold Coast needs increases. Their mill rates are like 10, 12, 14. Yeah, it's terrible. It's frustrating, but man, I just that's so frustrating to me that they could cut our ECS funding. It's and you know what the sad part is? There's really not too much we can do about it. So it's
because
I don't mean to be all negative, but what I think we have, in my opinion, we have two.
Reality is reality.
Yeah, we have to deal with the hand we're dealt, and I think we have two great legislators who try to fight for us. But again, when you're outnumbered 2-1, and there's only really so much.
No, you're right.
So I mean.
Yeah. Putnam, Killingly, and Plainfield are alliance districts, and Mary Beth goes on to say cities and wealthy districts in Fairfield received increases.
Yeah. Well, color me shocked. It's just I would ask the state, well, why is Plainfield an alliance district? Why is Killingly and we're not? I mean, what's the difference here?
Well, Mary Beth did say, she goes, it's based on income, test scores, and demographics. So one's going to outweigh the other. It's going to be it's going to be a combined score from the three. Victoria, who's on the Board of Ed actually in Sterling, says our mill rate is over 37. Y'all bitching over lower rates.
I mean, I don't think we should be punished for keeping our mill rate low. I think that's a good thing. It's a great thing for our and matter of fact, I brought in a few because I think it's important for people to realize, and I'm not using this as an excuse to spend money, believe me, but our mill rate's 25.07 for the town in Griswold. Obviously, Jewett City, 3.56. I can't control that. The Board of Finance has no say in what Jewett City spends. Voluntown's 27.7, Waterford 27.5, Plainfield 28, Lisbon lower 22. But I think we're right there in the middle, and we're even on the lower end for a lot of towns. So again, I don't want you to think that's me saying, oh, just deal with it, because I want our mill rate to be as low as humanly possible. But we're right there. I think we're doing the best job we can with what we have to keep it low and affordable.
Speaking of Jewett City, is the financial board involved with this borough town thing?
Not really. No, I mean, we haven't actually. No, we haven't really even we haven't discussed it. Obviously, it would have big,
Really?
No,
That's interesting.
No.
You think you guys would be like pretty much?
Well, you would. Yeah, I mean,
Get on the memo,
I'll be sure to put it on the agenda for next
there was
meeting.
no memo.
No. It's been pretty. Honestly, I don't, and again, I don't fully understand what would happen if we did merge as one. I don't know the actual ramifications. I'll have to definitely research it and make a decision. But it does seem like it's kind of a lot of pointless bureaucracy. I think there's a lot of double dipping, and there's been tiffs here and there, like they have an office in the town hall. They don't pay us rent or electricity, so it gets to be like, what's the point of having double dipping in all these things? So I think that's my first reaction.
The borough had a separate office years ago,
right?
But the residents wanted a place where they could go one central place and pay their taxes.
Oh, it totally makes sense.
So this is how that happened.
Totally makes sense.
So now, if you want to go ahead and do that and kick the borough out, what are you doing? You're just pissing people off.
Oh, sure. But again, the town.
But they won't be using their fax machine. That's a big one.
I'm not a fan of the petty. I think we should all try to get along. But again, we're paying taxes, so if the town is paying money for the borough to operate in any capacity, I don't think that's right either. So,
well, then maybe they pay the town a little more, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Right. Whatever. Right. So, exactly.
I mean,
I don't know. I need to do. I don't know enough about it, to be honest with you. But.
Yeah. No, that we talked about the big ones. How about the normal stuff that's going to be coming up now?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. What's going to happen there? I mean, do we have any big purchases going on?
Oh, as far as the actual budget, the normal budget. One thing I think we're benefiting a bit from, which I don't know if a lot of people know, is I think 2 years ago the state passed a bill to tax NIPS. A surcharge on NIPS. Another. So the good news is that goes back to the towns. I think last year we got 30,000. About 30,000, something like that. That's going to help us at least a little bit pay. We want a new street sweeper for the town. That's one of the big expenses that we're looking to buy. So again, some pennies from the state to help us with that. As far as other big projects, obviously we spend about $1 million a year on roads every year. That's the biggest nut, so it's the first to get cut. But hopefully,
a lot of people complaining that roads are in bad shape.
No, I understand. Believe me, no, I drive them too. I get it.
You can only do what you could do.
I don't. Again, I'd love to fund them, of course, but. We have so many needs in the town.
We love to be like Oprah. You get a new road. You get a new road.
Right.
Get a new road.
And again, I hate it, but even at a town level, there's so many layers of bureaucracy and things that have to happen that it's tough to just say, okay, I guarantee your road's gonna get paved. That's just, you can't say, it just can't happen. So we have to. We have a road study that was done, I believe, a year or so ago that essentially tells us what's the worst condition, what needs to be done next.
There's a software package they do.
Exactly. Right. And so I think we try to follow that the best we can. But again, we spend about $1 million, and I forgot the statistic. It's an absurd amount of money, how much it costs, especially in a state like this with the amount of bureaucracy and stuff that it costs to actually pave a mile of road. I want to say, and
$1 million?
I want to say it's about $1 million to pave 1 mile. So think about that. We're spending, in a perfect world, we're spending about $1.2 million a year out of the budget to go to roads. That gets us 1 mile of paved road. So, you got to do a few hundred feet here, a few hundred feet there. I mean, hey, you go out in Rickstown, they paved that this year. It's beautiful. It's great. But again, that's only a small section of the town. And, like Mike said, we're trying to stretch the penny the best we can, and as we see, we are getting no help from Hartford. So we got to do what we can.
So how do you think the budget's going to look? I know you don't have all facts.
Yeah, right.
How do you think it's going to look come July? Going to be up, even we know we're going to be up a little bit because of the field, but
again, my goal every year is to have a zero tax increase. Is that possible? No, probably
you
not.
can't, because inflation is cost everything.
Oh, inflation. And again, I think maybe a misconception people don't realize is that there's a lot of contractual increases that are state law or entered into the town with the town unions, the school unions, where, I was on the negotiations with the teachers union, and for their every 3 years approximately they have a new union deal, right? Yep. And the increase over the next 3 years is going to be 11%. So you do the math. We're talking a few $100,000 that we essentially have no choice but to pay, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying that's the nature of it. Is every year things increase. Obviously, the hope is our grand list increases enough to offset. There's some new houses and stuff going around town. That's a great thing, but is it increasing at the level we need? No. Hopefully, with more tuition students, that helps, right? But I think there would be very little will of the board, and I don't want to speak for the board, but at least in my opinion, very little will to go above $500,000 increase, especially with the surplus we have. I think there's things we can do, pay down some old projects, pay down the field project, etc. to.
So I that's one thing I want to ask you.
Sure.
Because it's come up, use some of the reserve fund or the not rainy day fund. For the field. How much money are you talking to be thrown at the field? So that'll definitely bring that project down. But how much are we talking?
Well, again, it all depends.
In the ballpark.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
So again, I think at least what I want to do and what I'm going to try to push for is to use a lot of that surplus to pay down old projects, right? But the question becomes, should we pay off for example, the roof on the high school has about $400,000, right? About $400,000 left on it, right? But if the bond on that is I have to look, I don't know, I have it in front of me if that's a 3% bond.
I was gonna say what the rate is.
You have to, then it'd probably be smarter to pay off the school, pay down the field with that money, because it'll save us more, So you have to weigh out, right?
Well, it's going to cost you different rates, different places.
Now, if the rate was the same as the field project, I'd say let's just pay the roof off, be done with it. That's one. I think that's about $100,000 a year we pay in our budget, so that'd be gone and behind us. Yeah. I think it would be safe to say I could see $1 million easily being used out of the reserves. I mean, that's probably a conservative number, honestly. Mm-hmm. So, that'll stymie quite a bit of the increase. All of it, probably not. But again, we need to see how the grand list shakes out. And
well, I think people are expecting an increase due to the passing of the field referendum.
Right.
So they are expecting that.
Yeah, they are. But again, I think it was hard for me to try to get the point across. But again, that it was passed, but it wasn't passed in a vacuum, meaning it has to all come together in the total budget, where we have, again, a reserve account where we can hopefully try to plug gaps where it won't be. If it just passed and nothing was done and we just went business as usual, yes, there would be about, I think the math was about a 0.6 mil increase just on that 0.7. So that's a considerable amount of money, yes. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think that's going to be the case.
So instead of going conservative, we went ham.
What do you think the impact would be on a normal house in town? What do you think the impact would be on a taxpayer?
I'll try to use myself as an example. Yeah. So the mill rate's 25.07. So,
and no doubt the finance director's house is worth $3.6 million.
I wish, believe me, I wish. I think last year I paid $5,600 in taxes about. So I think if it went up $500,000, I would be paying another, I think about $50 on top of the taxes I already pay. So, hey, believe me, I wish it was zero. I wish it was
$50 is not going to kill you.
It's not, but the thing is, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? Because last year the state also enacted a 0.5% FMLA tax, which hurts workers. It's just death by 1,000 paper cuts. Yeah. You get it. It's just $50 isn't a lot, but $50 on top of $5,600, it's just when does it end? You know, when does it end? So I'm very cognizant of that. I'm a taxpayer just like everyone else listening, and you know, so
let me ask you this. I'm a P&L guy.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that seems the way the budget's, you know, written anyway. What is the possibility, and would it work if the town actually separated into two budgets, with the town and the school having their own budget instead of just being an expenditure budget? Would that work? I mean, do you think, or should I say, do you think residents would understand it better, seeing where money comes and goes, as far as, instead of just, you know, slapping it as a line item,
right?
You know, like all this money,
right?
See, because there's a lot of explaining. It's like you got a lot of explaining to do. You know, where's all this money coming from?
You have the town budget, all these lines, and then one line, 28 million or whatever it is. For
exactly.
Yeah, I think maybe, but at the same time, that, you know, you could still view the school budget,
sure,
and so, you know, maybe that'd be better. I think a lot of times,
I don't know. It was
I don't either. I haven't really thought about it. Yeah, so a lot of people always bring up, you know, the school brings in 3.8 million. I forgot the number off the top of my head, but they bring in a lot of money, tuition revenue, and that goes back to the town. Now, a lot of people, I think there's a misconception that, why can't the school just keep that, right? And use that to fund their budget. But what people don't realize is that money is a revenue to the town. So that essentially it still does, because that money is used to fund the town and school budget. So it's not like the school is giving us 3 million and we're taking it and just using it for the town. That's not how it works. It goes into our revenue stream that is used to fund the entirety of the budget.
Yeah,
so,
I didn't think it would change the numbers or anything.
Just a transparency level,
or
maybe just understanding it.
I think understanding.
Yeah,
because a lot of things that I hear, you know, Mary Beth, you know, has said it. It's like people don't know where this money's coming from, or you know, they don't know that we're bringing in this kind of money.
Right.
We could talk about it all day, but it's like, where do we find it?
Yeah,
we can tell them, but you know, they're not going to look.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I think I tried to make this point at the multi-purpose field town meeting. I think
place with the track, Paul.
Yeah, I think I try to do my best. You know, I have a full-time job and everything. I try to do my best to be transparent, post stuff on social media, talk to anyone who wants to listen. And at some point, and I think you've tried to make this point a lot, Mike. You have to be a good citizen yourself and look for it. You know, and I hate to say that because people have busy lives. I get it. I think the town government as a whole is very transparent and very doing what they think is best for the town. And at some point, you know, you can't spoon feed. People need to go out and look themselves. You know, I used to do it.
We've talked about that.
Yeah, I mean, and I know everything that everyone needs to know is on Griswold now. So that's a great.
Wow. Oh, you know, if you see it on Griswold now, you know it's gospel.
I hate to tell you, but I heard on Griswold now the cost of the field was going to be $5.8 million.
Oh yeah. I'm sure. I've seen a lot of things on there too, and again, it's pointless because we're not sending everyone to the NFL and this, that, and the other. But I don't. You know, everyone's gonna have an opinion, and they're entitled to that. Absolutely.
Real head scratcher.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm confident in the actual numbers and the actual project. So again, I think people need to at some point look for themselves. I think the information is quite out there. So
I think the biggest problem is people are so busy going back and forth to work.
Oh, I get that. Absolutely.
And I get it. That's why a lot of people never showed up to vote on this referendum.
No, and again,
and the elderly.
Yeah.
How many elderly people actually can go look at this stuff? Not that many.
I think one thing I'd like to talk about is I think number one priority. Well, there's a lot of priorities, but a huge priority for me this year in the budget is getting a system where all the town meetings, especially Board of Finance, Planning and Zoning, are filmed and broadcast. I think it's 2023 and it's ridiculous that it hasn't been done before. The town was going for some grant to try to fund that. It didn't work out. So nowadays, how much does it cost to get a setup to just film it to just broadcast it on YouTube or wherever.
Well,
Facebook.
the Board of Selectmen now has a
Select-
camera.
They do.
Now,
that's
can
happening
you
now.
guys? Can your board use it as well?
Well,
Or-
it's kind of a weird thing because it's like Dana's personal cameras. I'm pretty sure, so it has to be like run on her laptop or something. So I'd like for it. No, it's ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous, right? So we need a town owned item that can. And how much could that possibly be? To yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's 2023. We need to be able, and people are busy. People's lives are busy. People are working 2 jobs. They need to be able to catch this when they can. And again, I love for every meeting to be broadcast.
I watched the meeting on the field.
Right. From your yeah.
And that was
I
the
think,
school.
Yeah, I watched the selectmen's meeting yesterday.
Yeah, it's great.
So,
No, agreed.
So,
Right, but why not Board of Finance? Why not EDC?
I
Why not
agree.
Public Health and
I think
Safety?
they're all important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all should. Yeah.
Zoning.
I'm 100% pushing
Because-
for that.
Okay. All right. Let me tell you something right now. This is what I freaking do.
right.
All right. If I took this camera right here, I could hook it up to any flipping computer. I don't know. Well, it's going to be on my laptop. That's a button. Come on. Who does that?
I don't know what to tell you, Mike, but I mean, the town doesn't have anything, so it needs to.
well, it getting knocked out of the budget.
I mean, it should be such a small dollar item. I hope that it,
No, I totally agree because I watched this stuff yesterday after the meeting was over just to see.
It's
what
very
was going
helpful,
on.
and people do nothing
Yeah.
but applaud it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, let's take the carrot, put it right in front of that horse.
No,
And
it's,
that
I
horse
think it's a
keeps
great
going,
idea.
trying to grab it. Can't. Nope, not my laptop.
Yeah.
Nope, not my laptop.
Well, no, I don't want to. No, I wasn't trying to go after. No,
No.
I'm not.
Those are my words.
Got it.
I will live and die by that.
Got it. No, she's not saying you can't use it or anything like that. It's just I don't want to be having to pass around someone's personal camera. I just want the town has all these other things. Why can't we have a little system to
I told the borough myself that I will give them a camera and the setup so they can do it.
Well,
You know, and it's like,
let's talk, Mike. Let's
right.
talk.
But then, then I'm talking to a couple of people in the borough Burgesses, and they're
Yep.
saying, well, now we're looking to actually get. So I'm actually consulting with them to help them get a setup. Why can't it just mount the damn camera
Seems easy to me.
and turn it on
Seems easy to me.
and let's rock?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. No, I'm with you. Totally.
Anything else you want to talk about that we did not get a chance?
No, I think we covered some good topics. So
Will you come back?
yeah, I'll come back anytime.
You
Especially in the middle of budget season. That'd be a good time to
We're doing tomorrow.
Well, I think it'd be a good idea to come back during budget season. That
Absolutely.
way people would have an idea.
Yeah. Right. Where we're
we
looking
are.
at, right?
And if they're comfortable, you'll get your vote.
Right.
If they're
Yeah.
not comfortable, you
Right.
won't get your
Right.
vote.
No, and I think I guess on that note, so we have a Board of Finance meeting Tuesday coming up, and then we expect to start having presentations from the different areas of the town and then eventually the schools. So if people don't know how it works, essentially they come in with their initial budget and they show us every increase by every line, and we look at it, then we say yes, no, change this, change that, send it back to them, and that's how it works. So, and then we keep going back and forth until we come up with a agreement, and at that point we send it to the taxpayer to referendum to vote on it.
That's the meeting that they use their powdered wigs. There they are. No.
Exactly.
All right, let's end this by one comment here
Sure.
that I want to bring up.
Sure.
It's from Ryan Aubin.
Okay.
This is thank you to the Joseph Grzelak Memorial Foundation for sponsoring 5 Griswold youth, 5 Griswold basketball, Griswold youth rec ball teams training future Wolverines.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm glad to hear.
You want to talk about that foundation? real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah, sure.
I know it's not Townsend's personal stuff,
Right,
but
it's
I
personal,
think
but
it's worth talking about.
it's very prevalent because it gives a lot of money back to the town. So, unfortunately, I had an older brother who passed away in 2018 in a hunting accident, and we created a foundation in his memory. Now, he was also a lifelong resident of Griswold. He also played football, the whole nine. Just a great, the best guy you'll ever meet in your life. Always happy, and so we created this foundation, in his memory, and we have essentially a golf tournament. That's where we raise a lot of our money, but we do other, we have other things. We have a cornhole tournament as well. And we give away $10,000 every year in scholarships. That's kind of our main, that's our main thing we do to high school seniors. We've given, I want to say 50,000 thus far. So in this year, it'll be every year, another 10,000, so it'll be 60,000 this year. And we started to, that's what we did the first few years. And we started to expand, and we've done a lot of things like coat drives for kids who don't have coats at school. We did a pet drive for shelters. We started to sponsor a lot of sports, youth sports. So we sponsored baseball, I believe, basketball. So if people would like to look into it, or even, we always are looking for donations or anything. We have a Facebook page, Joseph Grzelak Memorial Foundation, and you can get a lot of info there. And we're always looking for, we also give away every year Christmas meals, Easter meals, Thanksgiving meals. So, even if it's, someone who's in need or anything whatsoever, that's something you could think we could sponsor, feel free to reach out. And, we turn down very little people, and we've been very blessed with a lot of support. So, our coffers are pretty full, and we like to help people out. So that's the whole deal on that. So.
Can you guys pay down the 3.8? Oh boy!
Yeah, we'll pay for it. Just name it after my brother. Maybe,
that's it.
Yeah.
The Joseph Griswold Griswold High School Stadium.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Alex, man, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, guys. Hey, nice to meet you, Paul. Absolutely.
All
right, we'll be in touch. Yeah, we'll be back. All right, take care.
All right, that's Alex Grzelak, who's the Board of Finance Chairman here in the town of Griswold. Great conversation. It was a conversation that was needed, and I think hope people got some value out of that. Did you?
Yeah.
You don't look happy.
I'm not unhappy. Why am I unhappy?
I don't know. But anyway, it was great to have him here. So this is his first time here. So
yeah, that's good.
Anywho, all right. Tomorrow, Retiree Row returns.
Right.
I think we're going to talk about that movie tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, and you're going to Hollywood.
I'm bull. No, there's no way.
Yeah.
I do have some disheartening news and some cool news. Some cool news is that we're going to be doing SN is going to be broadcasting the girls semifinal ECC basketball tournament this Saturday from Plainfield High School. It's going to be 4 games, and we will be doing all 4 games right here on SN. Now, the disheartening news. Tonight, we had a game scheduled at Woodstock, a boys game. Unfortunately, we will not be able to carry that game tonight due to lack of staff. So, unfortunately, we won't be able to do it.
Need a camera operator.
Need a camera operator.
So somebody step
and I have, it's one of those situations, and I have a lot of people that, have run camera and always very, very open to it. So but everybody's busy tonight.
Oh, maybe somebody wants to step up.
Yeah. So who knows? I'm gonna. Yeah. If anybody if you want to run camera tonight at Woodstock Academy, let me know. So anyway, but we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
All right. Have a good day, everyone. We again, thank you so much for paying attention to us right here on SNSN.
Hi, this is Lisa Griffin of Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank. Well, some banks offer checking account rewards, and some banks rebate ATM withdrawal fees. At Eastern, we say, why choose? Check out our Kasasa checking accounts and find out how you can get both. For more information, visit bankeasternct.com. Call us at 860-889-73.